Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're going to do the final Faces of Easter story today. In the beginning, the baby was born. God chose Mary to be the mother of God. Listen carefully. God chose Mary to be the mother of God. And the Word was born, a wordless child. When the baby looked up into the face of the Mother Mary, the cross was already there. When he looked up into the face of the father Joseph, the cross was there as well. The Mother Mary, the father Joseph, held the baby close. They kept the baby warm. They gave the baby everything it needed to grow. The baby grew and became a boy. When Jesus was about 12 years old, the Mother Mary, the father Joseph, and many of the people from their village of Nazareth went to the great city of Jerusalem to keep one of the high holy days. After the celebration was over, the people from the village of Nazareth headed on the road towards home. All of a sudden, Mother Mary and Joseph realized that Jesus was not there. They thought he'd been playing with the other children as they walked along the way. They hurried back to Jerusalem to look for him. They searched in the dark and narrow streets. They looked in the marketplace where they had bought their food. They looked where they spent the night. They looked everywhere for 3 days and 3 nights. Finally, they went to the temple, and there he was, talking to the priests. When he spoke, they listened because he knew so much. When they spoke, he listened because he wanted to learn more. Then Mary and Joseph said the thing to Jesus that all parents ask their children and no child can answer. "Son, why have you done this?" And Jesus said, "Something strange. Didn't you know I would be in my Father's house?" What was he talking about? Their house was in Nazareth, where Joseph's carpenter shop was. They didn't understand, but they did not forget. The boy grew and became a man. When he was about 30 years old, Jesus went down to the river Jordan, where his cousin John was baptizing people. Can you see John? This is the back of his head. He was a wild man. Jesus waded into the water until he was face to face with John, and he said, "Baptize me." John looked at Jesus as if it were for the first time, and now he knew who he really was. "No, I cannot baptize you. You are the Messiah, the one we have been waiting for. You must baptize me." "No," Jesus said. "It is written that you will come before me to prepare the way. Baptize me." Jesus went down into the dark and chaos of the water. And when John lifted him up into the light, some people who were there said they saw a dove come down from heaven and come close to him. Other people who were there said they heard a voice, and the voice said, "This is my son, with whom I am well pleased." After he was baptized, Jesus crossed over the river Jordan and went into the desert to learn more about who he was and what his work was to be. Jesus spent 40 days and 40 nights in the desert. There wasn't much to eat or to drink. One day, he heard a voice. It said, "Why don't you turn those stones over there into some bread, and then you can have something to eat?" Jesus said, "No, man does not live by bread alone." Then it was as if he was on top of the highest temple in the great city of Jerusalem. The voice came back and said, "If you are truly the Son of God, why don't you jump and see if the angels will catch you before you hit the stones below?" "No," Jesus said, "we do not need to test God." Then it was as if he could look out and see all the kingdoms of the world. The voice came again and said, "If you will follow me, I will make you king of all those kingdoms." "No," Jesus said, "I am to be a king, but not that kind of king." Then the voice went away. Jesus left the desert, crossed the river Jordan, and went to go and do his work. What was his work? His work was to come close to people, especially the people no one else wanted to come close to. See, he has come so close to this blind man, he is touching his eyes. When Jesus came close to people, they changed. They could see things they had never seen before. They could do things they had never done before. They became well. Jesus also taught in parables. Finally, he knew that he was to become a parable, and he turned toward Jerusalem for the last time. When Jesus came to Jerusalem for the last time, it was the time of Passover. The city was full of people from many different lands. They thought he had come to be king, but they weren't paying attention. He had not ridden in on a great white horse. He was not being carried by soldiers. He was riding on a donkey, and it wasn't even his. He had to borrow it. Still, on Sunday, the people grabbed palms off the trees and waved them, which was a sign of kings. On Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, Jesus taught in the temple. In the evening, he and the 12 went to the Mount of Olives. People watched Jesus and whispered. The Mount of Olives was where a great army of angels was to come down and beat back the Roman soldiers. The temple guards said, "On Thursday, we will take Jesus." But on Thursday, they could not find him. He and the 12 had hurried through the darkened streets to a house. There they climbed the stairs to an upper room where they shared their Last Supper together. After they had had everything they wanted to eat and to drink, Jesus took a piece of bread, gave thanks to God, and broke it. Then he said, "Whenever you are together like this and you share the bread, I will be with you." Then he took a cup of wine, gave thanks to God, and said, "Whenever you share a cup of wine like this, I will be there." What was he talking about? He was there. They didn't understand. How could they know? Later, they would understand. Suddenly, Judas, one of the 12, got up and disappeared into the night. The rest of the 12 sang hymns together and went to the Garden of Gethsemane on the Mount of Olives. Jesus wanted to pray. When he was finished, he joined the 12, Judas suddenly reappeared from the darkness and greeted Jesus with a kiss on the cheek. This was a sign for the temple guards to take him. Suddenly, the guards showed up from the darkness, and they took Jesus away with them into the night. Afterwards, the 12 also disappeared into the darkness. The night was long and confusing. The next day, Friday, Jesus was taken outside the city walls and was crucified. Later, he died. The sky turned dark. Some friends came and took his body off the cross, and they placed it in a cave. They rolled a big, huge stone over the opening to seal it like a door. Saturday was so quiet. It was as if the earth was breathing. On Sunday, it was the women who had the courage to come and visit the tomb and be close to Jesus. They wanted to remember everything, even if it was very sad. When they arrived, the stone had been rolled away. When they looked inside, the tomb was empty. Jesus had died on the cross, and yet he was still with them, just as he is with us, especially in the bread and in the wine. When you see this part, you know that this side is also there. And when you see this side, you know that this side is also there. You cannot pull them apart. And that is the mystery of Easter. And everything changes. The colors change from purple to white. The color of pure celebration. It's beautiful. Wait a minute. Something is wrong. There is a beginning a middle and an end. Now, if the story ends here, it is finished. But we have this side, which is like a beginning. So the story cannot be in a line. Let's see. What can we do? That's better. Now the story can go on forever. Amen. part of the story do you think is most important? I wonder which part of the story is your favorite. I wonder, is there any part of the story that we can leave out and still have everything we need? Well, friends, thank you for joining us. Until we get to see you again, blessings.